All right. Can you guys hear us? We'll see like 100 questions go zipping by.
Yeah, that's up. There. Say hello.
There we go. All right. Hey guys, welcome to another Friday live stream. That's weird. It automatically turned my mic back on there. All right, everybody that's watching, can you guys hear us good? Piece of cake. All right, who's the first question? Let's see who we got here. Bob from Belgium. Welcome to members only videos. So Philip Johnson. Hey coach, love your work. Why do women give you choosing signals then reject you when you approach, but are still checking me out afterwards as if they want me to try again? It happens a lot at my gym. Well, typically, you should take that as a compliment. She likes what she sees, but clearly she's taken. You do enough approaches, you approach enough women that stare at you and smile, you're going to approach some of them that are, oh, I'm sorry, I'm married. Oh, I have a boyfriend. But they like what they see, so take it as a compliment. Again, as long as you approach her, you can cross it off your list that you made the attempt. Instead of kicking yourself for the rest of the week going, damn, I should have approached that girl. All right, who's next? Amit. Well, I'm Indian. Relationship, 3-year relationship, I guess. 2 ditched me, got married. 3rd cheated for ex, told, what? How to gain my confidence back, I guess is what he's really asking. So, repetition is the mother of skill. Confidence comes from doing what you know how to do and doing it really well. The book is free to read. In the members area of the website. You got to spend the time with the book. There's no shortcuts to success. You have to read the book, and then you got to apply it. You got to read, apply, read, apply, read, apply. So you see enough of what's in the book showing up in your own life. Over time, that's what builds your confidence. Everybody starts out as a novice. Give yourself permission to be a beginner again and be okay with failing. Expect failure. And understand that most of your attempts are going to fail. But the reality is all you need is one good one. Who's got the next question on?
Okay, this is from iTunes. Coach, is cat behavior just low attraction, like when she gets bored and disappears for some days? We say it is a cat behavior, but it is still low. But is it still low attraction?
Well, just the mindset that he's got is he's presupposing it's low attraction. In other words, he's taking it personally when a woman's not super excited and interested. And when you guys date enough and you get into a relationship, there's gonna usually around like you do a first like 3-day weekend, like you get together Friday, Saturday, Sunday. You pick her up Friday, she's jumping into your arms. You drop her off Sunday night, she's kind of like, oh, I love you, and then see you later. But you notice there's not as much enthusiasm Sunday night as there was Friday. Now, does that mean that she's unattracted or less attracted? It's possible. But if you haven't been done anything super unattractive, you just have to understand that just spending time with the other person, you start to take each other for granted. You get familiar with each other. So you can't take it personally. If you know you're not doing anything that's unattractive, you haven't screwed up, that's just the way women are. It's like it's about as productive as getting upset at the weather changing all the time, or the fact that you look at your phone, says it's going to be sunny, and then it ends up raining all day. You just got to be grateful for whatever shows up, especially also around that time of the month when women have their period. Their emotions and their interests can change. Sometimes they're like, get the fuck away from me. Whereas the day before, like, I love you, you're the best boyfriend of all time. And then the next day, they're not feeling good, they got cramps, and they look at you like you're the last person they want to see and spend time with. So maybe you ladies can speak to that when your hormones or your emotions change.
Oh yeah, sometimes we see red. It's like, get away from me. Everything irritates you. Even though we love you, we kind of do want you there. We just don't want you to annoy us or speak or do anything else. Just sit and not be heard.
In other words, why is she all of a sudden being a bitch? It's
I
just
get that like a week in advance, not like during the cycle. Like
You get crabby a week in advance?
yeah,
You get a little short with your man?
and then I realize I'm like, oh, that's why I was so upset last
Do you
week.
apologize? You say, honey, I'm sorry for being such a bitch. It was that time of the month.
Yeah.
It's very important that a woman will recognize when she's being a bitch and apologize for it. Because if she feels entitled to be that way and she never apologizes for it, eventually at some point you're just going to be like, ugh, I don't want to deal with it. So don't take it personally is the bottom line. Next question.
Do you have any advice for recent psychology graduates who wish to be great therapists? Many thanks.
Well, one thing I do know about psychology, therapy, psychotherapy is that the stuff that's taught in my book is just something that it's not learned, it's not discussed, it's not part of the discipline. And but the good news is people that are really good therapists or that want to be better are going to read a book like mine and learn it. So you should look at 3% Man as a great set of tools for your toolbox, because you'll be way more effective helping people if you understand how attraction works, and you can coach from there. I've had many people, even friends of mine over the years, they're in marriage and couples therapy, and the therapist doesn't understand how attraction works and is basically begging the wife or the girlfriend to sleep with her husband or her boyfriend. That's not helpful. If she's repulsed or doesn't feel safe with her husband or her boyfriend, then a good therapist has to understand what the guy needs to do to get him back into a place where he does feel confident, does feel attractive, and does display more masculinity than effeminate and girly behavior. Because again, if a woman doesn't feel safe with you, she's not going to want to sleep with you. And unfortunately, in therapy, it's just not something that's studied, or as far as I know, they even have an awareness yet. But I have a lot of good couples therapists that I've worked with over the last 20 years that have learned my work. Some of them have gone on to write their own books and incorporate what they learned from me into their practice, and they're just 1,000 times more effective.
Someone said to bring the mic closer to your mouth.
I think it's good, actually. I adjusted the levels here, so you should be good.
Is my mic good now? All right, so I got to scroll down a little bit.
Should be good here.
Whoa. All right. Who's next? What do you got, ladies?
Okay, so Kane Miss asks, question for Corey. Why do you believe we choose our parents when a lot of times kids get stuck with abusive, neglectful parents? My parents' situation is just like yours you wrote about in the book.
Well, just all the different spiritual traditions I've studied and my personal experience. It's, especially studying Edgar Casey's work, especially the stuff he did on reincarnation. To me, it's the only thing that makes sense. Because otherwise, if we just live one life, then everything's a tragedy. That person had bad luck. And we tend to live in a very orderly universe. I mean, we're on a marble that's hurling through the galaxy at thousands of miles an hour, and yet we're all alive. We're not flying off of it into outer space. And so to me, it was the only thing that kind of gave me peace, that made sense, was that if you look at somebody and what they're going through, and you think, oh, that poor person, that poor bastard, what bad luck. But if you look at it from the perspective of the soul and the journey of the soul, and you study karma, cause and effect, I mean, if one life you're a horrible person and you're a soul that's eternal, and then in the future life you reap what you sow, well, if you were a terrible person in a previous life, then maybe in a future life or a future incarnation you're born as a good person, that really bad things happen to you. Because that's the only thing that makes sense. The soul's not gender specific. In one life you might be the dad, and the next life you might be the daughter, and you switch places. And Edgar Casey also said we incarnate as soul groups. And so that's why when you meet somebody and it feels like you've known them already, or there's just something that's familiar, that's invisible, that doesn't happen very often. But the way you meet and the connections that you have and the things that you talk about, I believe those are people that are meant for you. They came into your life. Doesn't mean they're going to be in your life forever or your whole life, but they're there for a reason. So it's like Edgar Cayce, one of the things he said, we're always meeting ourselves. In other words, we're always meeting what we've created. We're always meeting our karma, whether it's from this life or previous lives. And so if you look at it from the journey of the soul and you just come back and you incarnate over and over and over again, a soul that accumulates a lot of negative things and does a lot of bad things, well, in future lives, those people, if you're the killer in one life, you're the killed in another. And that's the way, because the soul wants to experience, wow, I did these bad things. Oh, well, I need to experience having bad things done to me so I can gain wisdom or growth as a soul. To me, that's what makes sense. Because otherwise, we're just a bunch of meatbags running around, blind luck, blind chance. I mean, how do you explain things like when you're thinking about somebody and literally 30 seconds later they call you and you might not have talked to that person in 2 years? Is that just an accident? You guys remember about 20, 25 years ago, the old computer speakers, when we had the digital phones, like you would start hearing like a zzz, 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 zzz in the speakers about 15 seconds before your phone would actually ring?
No, because
No.
we couldn't use the internet or anything like that while the phone was...
No, your phone would be laying next to the speaker.
Oh,
Like,
yeah.
so you got a computer and you got your
okay, so
external speakers plugged in.
Yeah, the
if your phone was
interface
set
would
next
go.
to it, you would
Yeah.
start getting this weird noise coming out of the speakers right before it would ring. That's how you always knew you had an incoming phone call.
That's out of my decade. Gem High said, why do fools fall in love? It's a serious question.
Why do fools fall in love? That's like an old song, probably the 50s, 60s, maybe in the 40s. So let's look at that. Why does a fool fall in love? So a fool, that would tell me, is not very aware, doesn't have wisdom, doesn't understand how attraction works, and it's somebody that just gets caught up on their emotions and they allow themselves to fall for somebody despite all the obvious red flags that you or I would see. I mean, how many of us know people and we see them together with their new significant other and we look at it and we go, yeah, that's not going to work. But they're like the last person to see that. And so if you're not educated, if you're not wise, then you'll fall for somebody that you shouldn't. If you start dating somebody and they tell you that every person they've ever been with has cheated, and then you think, I'm going to be different, and then they cheat on you, that's kind of obvious. But at the end of the day, you can take great comfort in wherever you are in life right now, your best thinking got you there. Next question.
What do you think of Casey Xander and Andrew Tate's style?
Who's
Well,
Casey Xander?
I know who Andrew Tate is. I'm obviously not a fan. I mean, if you listen to him talk, especially in some of those old pimp and hose degree and that kind of stuff, and you see how he talks to women, you see the text exchanges. It's like there's a lot of stuff where he's just running his mouth about things. He's not a good dude. He's not a good person. I wouldn't associate with somebody like that. And he's definitely a pathological liar. Like when he was here a few weeks ago, Ron DeSantis had the Attorney General opening a investigation into him. And then when he got back to Romania, he said, oh yeah, me and DeSantis, we talked it out. And DeSantis is like, that never happened. And the other guy, I don't know.
The one under that?
What do you say? Casey somebody?
Sanders.
Sanders? I don't know who that is.
Yeah, I never heard of him. Or Xander, not Sander.
But what I've learned and what I've seen is every single one of those dudes, it's like, whether it's their books or their videos, I can watch, I can tell exactly where they got it from.
Philip Johnson.
Often imitated but never duplicated.
Philip Johnson says, this is a follow-up question from earlier. When they reject me at the gym, they can be very disrespectful, but are still checking me out. So it can be very confusing if I should try again or not.
Well, if you already approached and they rejected you, then you're never going to approach them again. Let them come over and talk to you. You should be talking to other pretty girls at the gym. If somebody's an asshole to you or rejected you and you catch them checking you out, go talk to other girls. If somebody says no, if the door closes in your face, then go talk to somebody else. Let her be the one that initiates the next move and comes to you.
So, my 3000 asks, in your recent video, newsletter, you talk about manifestation. What if the universe brings you people / circumstances and you miss it?
Well, what's meant for you won't miss you. I firmly believe that. If you guys have read the book, I mean, it's like the relationships I wrote about in there. It's like, especially when I look back on them, those are magical events. Those were divinely orchestrated. So, I mean, what happened, and it couldn't have happened any way. It had to happen that way. Because if it hadn't happened that way, we wouldn't be here. But when I look back on my life and all the relationships that I've had, especially the ones that made a big difference, it's like I had to learn. I wouldn't have learned these things if it hadn't been for these women. And so you guys shouldn't just be grateful for me. You should be grateful for the ladies that I've dated. You've gotten to meet Katie so far. And I have a few other ones we've talked about potentially bringing on, but they don't do this stuff for a living.
It says it in the Bible too. What's meant for you, no one can take away or even try to get rid of, because it's meant for you. It's destined. But what's not meant for you, no matter how hard you try to keep it in your life, it's not going to work.
Yep. It's like a turd that won't flush. They just tend to stick around. There's one of those floaters, the bowl burners. They don't go down.
Ew.
You should see them in the public toilets.
Ew.
I was talking to Jack about that, like manifestation and stuff, because like you've been in situations in certain relationships where you want things to work or you wanted things with that one person and it didn't work out, and then you end up being with someone new and everything works out the way you wanted in the past relationship. And I was just telling him, I was like, you were the right person,
Right person at the right time.
Yeah, I was like, before I wasn't the right person, so.
Yeah, the guy you were with before was like, that was obvious that wasn't going to work out.
Yeah.
It was like, hello.
Hello.
Even though you guys were together for 4 years, but things had to happen, and you both had to get to a place where it was dunsies for good.
Yeah.
And so you created a space in your life, and you were dating and having a good time, and I think because Anna didn't want to go to a concert, was it?
No. We had a bunch of tickets.
Oh, so you had extra tickets.
We had extra tickets.
And he's like, hey, Jade, you want a ticket to this concert? And she's like, I'm not doing anything. What the hell? And here we are, a year and a half later?
Yeah.
And some interesting things have happened.
Yeah.
John?
We won't go into detail, not yet. Right?
Right, not yet.
I think some of the people on the last week kind of figured we can't confirm or deny anything. When the time's right, you'll know. And then there'll be a point where you'll be like, wow, that's pretty obvious what's going on there.
All right, who's got a question?
And John Klassen says, Andrew Tate teaches to never give in to a girl, be a stoic man. I personally am looking for a marriage type of girl. Would being this stoic / cold be a good idea if Andrew wanted a long-term marriage?
Huh?
Well, he's an abuser. He's just an abusive dude. He's a gangster, top G, has the shirts for it. And, he believes in verbally and physically beating women into submission. He talks about it. So anything else that comes out of that guy's mouth, he gets what he gets through coercion. You should be paying attention to people who don't have to use coercion. They use charm and their personality. So, as far as being, I don't know what he teaches. I I do know some of the things I've heard. Like I've seen him on some of these podcasts, and he literally was regurgitated things word for word right out of my book. And I was like, well, that's pretty obvious where you got that from. And I would imagine a guy like that, of course, he's probably studied my work, and then he adapts it to his own. But again, he's not a good person.
Mike Maver, if you've been dating someone who's been cheated on in the past and her father cheated on their mother, however, this person states they've never cheated on anyone before, are these still red flags?
They're definitely red flags. You got to trust but verify. You're vetting for character. So just because she came from that kind of an environment or has had that happen, was it a boyfriend cheated on her in the past?
Yes.
Maybe she's terrible at vetting. Or maybe she's also like that, because like attracts like. People that like the same things tend to like each other. So, you know, as Ronald Reagan said, you got to trust but verify. It's best if the woman thinks you trust her completely, and then that way it's much easier to catch her in a lie or slipping up. It's, you know, just simple things like always having her phone face down and hiding it, or the phone rings and she walks out of the room and you're like, oh, who was that? Oh, it's just a friend. And then she changes the subject and doesn't want to talk about it. There'll be obvious signs that she's a disloyal person. And your job is to find that out as quickly as possible. But if you're jealous and you're insecure and you're constantly accusing her, then she'll just get better at hiding it, and it'll take a lot longer to figure it out. So it's like you got to be a little James Bondish like.
So this is from Alejandro Adam. Coach, read book nearly 30 times. Lots of success using your book. Have attracted lots of great women in the past year. Not yet ready to settle yet. Want to travel and keep meeting women. How do I attract 100 out of 10? Or 10 out of 100?
What? 100 out of 10?
Yeah, that's
Maybe
what
10
it,
out of 10 is probably
10 out of 10?
oh, it's a tight. Oh, yeah.
Well, if you're not really ready to settle down and not your thing, and the vibe you're putting out is friends with benefits, because typically for us guys, if our lives are really stable and we're doing well, we're making good money and good cash flow, and we're in one area, we're not like moving around, you know, every 3 months, moving cities or whatever for our job, then when you're a stable guy, you're going to be more inclined to have a long-term relationship. But when you're like this guy is, when you're like this guy is, where you're, you know, he's like, he wants to play the field, that, you know, that's you attract how you act. And so that's the vibe he's putting out. And so in order to attract a long-term relationship, you got to have a space for it. It's like we were talking about with Jade. She was with a guy for 4 years, and you were single about a year and a half before you met Jack?
From May to December.
May to December.
So half a year.
Well, I mean, all Jade has to do is walk outside and walk around the neighborhood or go someplace, and dudes are, same thing with Caroline, dudes are approaching them. So it's easy for pretty girls, and she's like, no, yes, maybe, okay, hell yeah, when she met Jack. And she had a space in her life for somebody. She was casually dating. She wasn't dating to, you know, to hook up and stack 1,000 bodies. She was looking for the next great love of her life. And she was just going to a concert with Chunky, and I think Erica was there too.
Yeah.
And a few other people. They were just having a good time. She wasn't going there to meet a dude, and it's like that was like the last place she expected it, because it was last minute. She didn't even buy the ticket. And that's the way the universe tends to work. The universe kind of conspired through Chunky and his free concert tickets. And now everything has happened since then, Chunk. It's all your fault.
Joe Niati. I had a toxic relationship with my ex and take responsibility for the abuse on my part. She left and got with her neighbor a week later. And is she in the rebound or is she in love? She has a lot of anger for me.
Well, women tend to understand this better than us guys, that when you had a breakup, the best thing to do is get on another horse. Because nothing will change. You know, for us guys, we tend to dwell on things a little bit longer because we internalize it more. But with girls, they're constantly talking about it with everybody. Their family, their girlfriends, maybe their therapist. And so you got to feel it to heal it. And they stay home, they cry, and they move that stuck energy through their body, whereas we tend to go hang out with our buddies, drink a few beers, we stew about it, and it typically takes a lot longer for guys to get over it. And because with us, especially if you've been in a relationship for a few years, now you're back to approaching, or you're on a dating app, or you're thinking about asking out girls again. Whereas pretty girls like these two, you know, they're always getting hit on, they're always getting approached, they're always got guys showing them interest. And it's kind of like being on airplane mode. It's like they have airplane mode when they're in a relationship, and when they're ready to start dating again, they just turn it off airplane mode and start saying yes, basically, to the invitations that are always happening. Whereas us, we got to do some approaches, got to go on a few dates. It's a lot harder to get back into it for us guys.
But like, you didn't see the key word. She got with her neighbor a week later. That means she must have had her eyes on him or something.
Yeah, she probably liked him. They were probably already talking, and who did he say who dumped who?
Probably she dumped him.
No.
Yeah, if she dumped him and she's getting with his neighbor a week later, then yeah, she lined that up ahead of time.
Yikes.
So on to the next.
Bad girl.
That hoe ain't loyal.
She for the streets? Where is it?
She belongs to the streets.
All right, this question is from, I'm probably not going to say this right, but I apologize. Anand Jahav. After getting my ex back, she still talked to guys who approached her in the gym. I told her to stop doing that. She dumped me and threatened me to not come around. Should I also talk to girls too?
Say that again? Is it on the screen?
Oh, it's up more. I think it's it says after getting my ex back, she's still talking to guys who approach her in the gym. I told her to stop doing that. She dumped me and threatened for me to not to come around.
So in other words, they got back together and she continued to flirt with other dudes in the
Yeah.
gym. Okay, well she's out. And
She's
she
out.
dumped you. It's like that girl ain't gonna change. That hoe ain't loyal. That's not a family oriented girl. That's a fuck buddy, friends with benefits, sex playmate. You don't get exclusive with somebody like that. Because she doesn't exhibit any kind of behavior that shows she'd be loyal. So what if you got back together? It sounds like she gave you a Kentucky guarantee for a commitment, which doesn't mean shit. And so that's why she's inviting attention from other guys. Loyal women aren't going to invite attention from other men. They're going to say, no thank you, I'm in a relationship, or they'll tell you that they have a boyfriend or that they're married. But girls who are in a relationship, supposedly, like, or back together with their ex, like they were with this guy, and then yet they're inviting attention from other men at the gym, well, that's not going to stop. So on to the next. And yeah, if you're at the gym and you see a cute girl and she's checking you out, go talk to her. You don't owe your ex anything. She showed her true colors, and she belongs to the streets.
I just want to ask Adriana's question maybe too. Or, you know,
What?
Adriano Valentino says, I walked off on a girl I was dating because she didn't like Trump. The look on her face. The next week she saw me at a club around other girls. She kept looking, couldn't get her eyes off of me. Priceless. And he put laughing emojis.
Rejection breeds obsession. If she's a loony liberal and believes whatever the TV says, she's kind of susceptible, gullible to propaganda. I mean, most people, when you look at the data, can tell that what you see in the news and the TV is mostly bullshit. So if you really want to learn what's going on, the best place to be is on Twitter, because if somebody posts something and it turns out to be bullshit, you can either, going forward to discount what that person says, or you can unfollow and block them altogether so you never see their bullshit again. So that's the beauty of being on Twitter, is that over time, I mean, you have to spend a lot of time vetting people, is that if people that are consistently right and they get fact checked and the stories get carried by other media, to trust what they say. But when I look at people in the like CNN or any of these mainstream outlets, I just kind of, for the most part, scroll past what they say. Occasionally I'll look in and see what they say, but these idiots read a teleprompter. They're not really journalists. They don't offer anything of value. They're not verifying sources, and most of the time, if another outlet reports something, they just run with it and they don't verify or fact check anything. So you're usually just getting propaganda that comes from their advertisers, whether it's a pharmaceutical company or a big transnational corporation or whatever. They're beholden to whoever's paying the ad bills. And they live in a bubble. They all think they're right about everything. Who's got the next question?
This isn't a question. This is just some praise. Life Unveiled. Hi, Coach. A token of appreciation for helping change my life. Followed you for 2 years and on my 36th read. Still a work in progress, but thank you.
36 reads. That's a serious student. That's the kind of person that gets to know the material so well they could teach class on it. Mm-hmm. And when you're like that and a girl challenges you, especially if you're with a girl that knocks your socks off and you haven't dated many women that make you feel that way, when you know the book backwards and forwards that way, you understand the nuances with things, and you're more inclined to just be able to respond, you know, appropriately in an attractive way in your interactions. But when you just kind of thumb through it a few times and you're with somebody that knocks your socks off, you're going to usually kind of revert back to the mean, and that means you'll probably do all the same unattractive things that you used to do before. So congratulations, dude. Thanks for being a good student. We need more of those because most people are lazy.
Green Grass says that he is in no contact with his ex, but she keeps asking about giving him his stuff back. What should I do? I want her, but I effed up. She's the one that ended it.
Well, just tell her that she can mail it to him, or she can bring it by. You're good.
I think that's a great opportunity for.
Well, the thing is that she's asking to bring, to get his stuff back to him. It depends on what it is. If it's something big and like a bicycle or some that needs to be picked up, or if it's like a pair of sunglasses or something. Usually, guys don't have a lot of things at the girls' place. And so you could use it as an opportunity to invite her over to make dinner together. You could say, because if she's broken no contact to say, hey, I want to get your stuff back, you say, hey, great, why don't we get together and make dinner together, and you can bring the stuff by then. And if she says, cool, great, let her bring it over and make dinner, hang out, have fun, and hook up. But if she says, no, I just want to get to you, I don't think doing dinner would be a good idea, because women say that a lot in those situations. Just say, all right, no problem. Well, you got my address. Just, box it up and mail it back to me. And then after that, if she's mailed your stuff back, then you got no reason to contact her. So if she breaks no contact after that again, then try to make a date. And you'll only ask twice when she reaches out. Follow what's in 7 Principles, get an expert.
Kelly, you want to ask the income tools guy a question?
Income Tools says, met one in a group and we kissed. She just left a relationship and won't make another date. Another in the group texted me first but wouldn't make a date. I host some events myself. How do I play this?
Well, if they've shot you both down, then as far as you're concerned, you just cross them off your list. Oh, they're not interested until you hear otherwise. So focus on the other ladies that are in the group. When a woman says no, don't try to change your mind. It's just on to the next. Because it's very powerful. If she sees you talking to other pretty girls, she might become interested again. And we were talking about that just recently in 3%, the study group. We were discussing that with the girls. And I remember when this girl that had blown me off, and I see her many months later, and I'm at that point, I'm dating my future ex-wife. And like every time my ex-wife would go to the bathroom, she would come over and talk to me, and then when she see my ex-wife coming back, she would go back to where she was. And I would, many times during the evening, I felt somebody staring at me, and I turn around and look, and there she is smiling at me. Whereas previous times that I'd seen her, she just kind of acted like I was invisible, and now she sees me with another pretty girl, her attitude changed. Nothing ever came of it because I still didn't know what the hell I was doing back then. But the best way to get an attitude change is go talk to other girls. If someone says no, then go talk to somebody else, and on to the next. And I wouldn't bring it up again unless they come to you, or they text you, or they message you directly. That's going to give you the best possible chance, because you keep trying to linger and you keep trying to ask them out. You'll firmly cement in their mind that they're not interested. But if they see you just go and start talking to other girls and going out with other pretty girls, it's possible that they have an attitude change. It's the ultimate attitude adjuster.
New York Crazy asks, I'm dating a doctor who's about to enter residency to another state. Any advice with her upcoming demanding schedule?
So she's doing a residency in another state, which is probably going to be several, I don't know how long it lasts. She's usually several years. It's like, that's going to be tough because she's going to be busy. And the reality is one of the top 5 careers for people that cheat are doctors and nurses. So, and on top of that, if you're going to be long distance, that's going to be difficult. So let her do most of the calling, texting, pursuing, make dates, but that's kind of suboptimal. And if you think about it, why is she going to another state to do her residency instead of staying local where you guys are? It might be one of the ways that she can just go move on with her life and kind of have a slow breakup. Like, in other words, she'll move away and then dump you when she's in the new city.
You guys want to do Bobby's question?
I was going to do Demetrius Ross. He says, can you do more topics on navigating friends with benefits?
Sure.
More well, you guys got to send in an email. It's a good email, because that's pretty vague. Friends with benefits, like in what way? What specific thing do you need help with? So if you guys have an email or a longer question you think would be good for a video newsletter, send it to questions@understandingrelationships.com. As a matter of fact, I'll type it in here, and you guys can have that.
Erica, you want to ask a question?
I'll send it here. So they could email you there?
Yeah, so if you guys want to, questions@understandingrelationships.com, that's where you send an email if you want it to be considered for a video newsletter. So if you got a good friends with benefits type of question for the video newsletter, ideally keep it around 500 words. Make sure you spell it right, and your sentences, use proper punctuation. Erica, who's sitting next to me, she can tell you all about what do you think about the emails with punctuation and spelling.
I'm the one that proofs everything. I read them. I do most of the newsletters with Jocelyn. We split them up, and we appreciate everything that you guys send in. But grammar-wise, not going to rank on you guys. That's Corey's job. I love all of you men. I support everything that you guys are going through. But maybe take a grammar class or two, because you guys are making my job a little bit harder than it needs to be.
Yeah, so typically what I'm looking for, 500 words. Sometimes they can be a little bit longer, but if you got a good friends with benefits question, like so specific questions, specific issues you want to address, make the title friends with benefits question and send that in.
It's okay if it's a little bit longer than 500 words. Corey doesn't mind, but just try to keep it.
Yeah, if you send me 10 fucking pages, I'm just going to delete the email.
We're not reading that.
So 500 to maybe 800 words max, ideally. Bullet points are appreciated. If you got a bunch of questions that are specific, that would be good. Next question.
All right, I'll just read the question. This is from Bobby. He asked, our first date went really well. We kissed. She asked me if I wanted to see her again the next day. She's now FaceTiming me all the time. What do I do? Is this high interest? Also, I set the next date.
Yeah, so this is usually starts to happen like that 3 to 4 weeks in. So now she's comfortable enough with you that she wants to text and FaceTime all the time. So just invite her over. Make another date. Anytime a woman is FaceTiming you or calling or texting you like 9 o'clock at night or later, you can just say, come over. So it doesn't have to be a big official date, but that's the process that happens. Usually it takes many weeks, usually about a month before the woman's contacting you or FaceTiming you or calling you every day. And when it gets to that, just facilitate a get-together. Again, it doesn't have to be some big, expensive, or, I got to wait to see you for 2 weeks. It's just make a date happen. Hang out, have fun, and hook up. Because as you transition into a long-term relationship, that's what's going to happen anyways. She's going to be in contact with you multiple times a day and coming over to your, you're going to be seeing her just about every day. Like, she'll be stuck to you like a sucker fish to the point where you'll kind of get annoyed with her. Because when women are in love, they want to be with you all the fucking time. They want all your attention.
Amit Samantha asks, from your experience, is everything predestined? What is the viewpoint about astrology/luck? I read your book 3 times. Thank you, sir, for your wisdom.
Well, I don't believe in luck, and when it comes to
Astrology.
astrology, one of the things that Edgar Casey said about it, it's like it kind of gives you aspects of your personality or your tendencies. I know some people look at it as like, oh, you shouldn't go on a date Friday night because the moon's in a weird configuration, and the next date ideally for you is Tuesday at 7:23 p.m. or that's kind of anal and ridiculous. But it is interesting and fun to find out like what your characteristics are. So I personally don't read too much into that. And so, we have free will, obviously, but you may choose something else. And I don't believe there's one soulmate for everybody and that's it. I believe we have multiple soulmates. So if the opportunity's there and you choose something different, well, then another set of circumstances and people come along in your life. And that's just kind of the way it works.
Do you believe in karmic ties?
Karmic ties, like in what way? What do you mean?
I'll look it up for you.
Quick one, unrelenting force. Hey coach, no questions today. Just wanted to say thank you to you, the girls, Chunky, for making all your amazing insights. You're all making the world a better place.
Cool. Thank you.
Karmic tie is the belief that individuals are connected to each other through past lives, with these connections carrying over to the present, often involving unresolved issues or lessons to be learned. So people that bring like you have something to learn in that moment, so that person comes into your life.
Yep.
You learn it, and then they have
it's karma, basically. Yeah. It's if you were a shitbird in one life, well, you'll get to deal with a lot of shitbirds in a future life, so you'll get your karma. Mm-hmm. If you wrong somebody in a previous life, you'll meet them in a future life, and you'll have the ability to heal that relationship by doing something loving instead. Mm-hmm. That's the way it seems to make sense that it all works together.
The real Una asks, Corey, my ex is living... Oh, man.
Income tools, I appreciate so much.
Mine just went... Okay. Corey, my ex is living in the house that I own, and I've been at my mother's. I'm pissed. LOL. I've been in no contact for a month. Should I reach out to get her out of my house?
Why the fuck would you move out of your house, dude? That is the dumbest thing ever. That's your fucking castle. You don't leave your castle and leave a chick there when you're paying all the bills. So if that's your house, legally your house, you have every right to live there as much as she does. Now, if she's on the lease, same thing. You have every right to live there. If you're paying all the bills and she doesn't want to stay together and she's like, you need to get out, I was like, no, you need to get out. You can sleep in the guest room or you can go stay at your mother's, but I'm staying here with the family, and if you're gonna leave, then you have to explain to, if you got kids, she's got to be the one to explain to the kids why she's leaving and breaking the family up. So the worst thing you can do, especially if you're trying to get an ex back, is to leave your house or to move out of your master bedroom into a guest bedroom. Especially if it's your house, you own it, and this was just a girl you dated. That's just dumb. That tells me one of the reasons why you got dumped is that you made her the man in the relationship. Because no self-respecting man is going to move out of his house and let his girlfriend stay there ex-girlfriend, while he pays all the bills and he doesn't have access to all his stuff.
Yeah, and then she's probably got some random dudes coming over.
She got Chad Thundercock coming over and blowing out your Simmons Beauty Rest mattress.
Yuning Kong says, after our first meet, she told me she doesn't feel the spark and wants to focus on herself, as she just got broken up with last month. She then unfollows me, but kept me as a follower on her Instagram. Mixed signals.
Well, that's not mixed signals. She doesn't want to see your shit anymore, so you might as well unfollow her and move on.
She just wants your following count.
Yeah, so now what she basically said is, you're one of my fans.
Yeah.
That's it. You went from having a potential to date to now you're just a fan. So I would unfollow and move on. If you don't want to see your shit, I wouldn't stick around like, you know, a thirsty dude following her social media posts. Why give her the gratification?
Unfollow.
DMAC10. Hey, got out of a 7-year relationship, been 6 months now. I am good looking and get a lot of matches online, but I find it near impossible to hook up. Dating seems impossible despite my amount of matches. That's the problem. You stay online.
Yeah, if you're only meeting women online, you got to get out and improve your social skills. You got to interact with other human beings. And if you're going out with lots of girls online and it's not going anywhere, then something is fucked up in your game. Because if you're going out with women that have interest in you, but they don't want to go out with you again, so you're probably talking them out of liking you. Maybe you're oversharing. Maybe you're treating them like your mommy or your therapist, or you're complaining. It's like you got to get to a happy place in life where you're proud of yourself, you're proud of your life, you're proud of what you do for a living. And if you're not having a great time by yourself and not proud of your life, it's like, how are you going to get a woman excited about your life if you're not excited about it? So creating a great life and lifestyle for yourself should be your first priority. And the second, obviously, you gotta read the book and figure out where you're going sideways. Because if you're going on that many dates and you're getting no second or third dates, well, then you're doing enough to get women out on a first date, but it's not leading to subsequent dates. So you're talking women out of liking you, and the book can help you figure out what you're actually doing. But the way you should look at online dating is it's just a supplement. It's another way to get leads for women to date that you wouldn't normally meet in your everyday life. But the best way is to meet them through your social network, your peer group, through people you know through work, or your things you do for fun, that kind of thing. Those will be, the more organic, especially just like hanging out with friends on a weekend, at their house or a barbecue, or you're watching sports or something like that, or they're just hanging out with other like-minded people. That's how you make new friends. That's how you meet new women, is to go out and socialize. Get off your couch. Don't be sitting on your couch just swiping left and swiping right all day long. That's not being a very social person. That's being lazy.
I went to Rum Club the other day, and
This one time at Run Club?
my ex's girl best friend was there. It was so funny. I was like, and I was with a guy.
Yeah.
Did
Yeah.
you wave when you passed her?
She said hi to me, so I
So now the information. Oh, guess who I ran into at Run Club?
and the guy.
I ran into your ex, and she was there with a new guy.
He
Has he reached out?
No.
No, he hadn't said anything. Is this a recent ex, or is this an ex from a long time ago?
a recent ex.
Huh. Well, I'm sure he's been apprised of the situation. She may have even taken some photographs. Oh, this is who she replaced you with.
Yeah.
Oh, that's so,
It's funny.
I got a question from Adam. Do all relationships run their course, or you just love the game and the beginnings? I respect and appreciate you, Coach. Thanks for being authentic and teaching me how to be authentic. That's from Adam. That's super chat.
Do all relationships run their course? Is that what he said?
Yeah, it's that orange one from before. If you want to read it yourself. You guys, I guess so. The next one's Alex Garcia. I'm 29 with 2 kids. I do pretty good at dating, but I want no more kids. Most girls I meet want kids. What should I do?
Well, the honorable thing to do is to not date women that want kids if you don't.
yeah.
But if you like younger women, that's gonna kind of be a problem, especially if they want kids. And if you got kids, and then you're gonna date a girl that doesn't like kids, doesn't want kids, is she not gonna be excited about being a stepmom? Because you want to have a good stepmom for your children as well. So you got to keep that in mind.
Or he could date a woman that's already has 2 kids that doesn't want any more kids. Maybe they're older kids, so they're, grown
Yeah.
up.
You can always date older women, or women that can't have more kids or don't want more kids. But you got to do something to prevent kids from accidentally happening, unless you're dating a woman that's post-menopause. And the cupboard is bare. Next question.
Austin Johnson asks, how do you make time to meet women when all of your time is dedicated to your purpose?
Well, that's a you problem. I mean, you gotta enjoy your life. So you gotta make time for yourself. You gotta take time to just unplug and not do any work, not do anything. Just, maybe on a Saturday you just lay on the couch and watch sports or movies or whatever and just not do nothing, just so you have some time for yourself. But if you're only working and you got no time for anything else, well, nothing becomes real until you schedule it. So in your time for yourself, maybe you just force yourself to go out and do something fun. Go to your yacht club or go to your country club. Join a hunting club. Buy a boat. Go do something fun. Go do fun things with other like-minded people that like the same kinds of things. You got to have a social life. You can't just, because all work and no play makes you a dull person. And girls just want to have fun. So if you're not having fun, how are you going to have fun with a girl if you're not even having fun by yourself? So focus on that.
Samantha, she says her boyfriend isn't open about his social life. He says I should just trust him, but he's been talking to an ex and it has been friendly. But I find it disrespectful. What should I do?
He's not open about his social life, but he's talking to his exes?
Yeah.
Well, as a woman, you're vetting for the same issues that us guys are. Is your boyfriend a loyal and faithful person? If you're in a relationship with him and he's constantly hanging out with and talking to his exes and you're not involved and he's secretive about it, doesn't tell you anything, well, that's pretty obvious. He's probably not very loyal and faithful to you. And your choice is basically, can you live with that or not? And if you can't, then you got to tell him this needs to stop if you want to stay with me. And if it's not, then we can date casually, but I'm gonna eventually, when I find the right guy, she's gonna ride off into the sunset with him. In other words, don't stick around trying to change the guy's mind or fix him. If he's not loyal and faithful, you're not gonna fix that.
I say trust your intuition too.
Yep.
Another question.
Yeah, you guys gotta kind of speed it up with the questions. You're all kind of like on your phones.
I'm sorry.
She's
I'm
texting.
responding to everyone.
Hey, Corey. This
What
is
would
from
you- Go ahead.
Fincy. Hey, Corey. Me and my ex just broke up 2 days ago. I stopped being a man and didn't keep her emotions engaged for the past 2 months, failing in college. She asked when we should trade stuff while breaking up, but I didn't answer, and she left when I started crying. I texted her saying that we should meet up this Monday to trade things.
Well, if she comes by, trade the things and say, well, I'm sorry you feel that way. Call me if you change your mind. And if she ever reaches out, follow what's in 7 Principles, get an X back. But you got to get back to the basics. You got to start doing what's in 3% Man. You got to apply it, because if you got to be more masculine than your girlfriend. If you don't, you're going to get dumped. That's just the bottom line. It's inevitable.
Did we do Adams?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
What about JJ?
From
Sirs,
Lava Maluga, today I approach 851 chicks. Currently, my conversion rate of cold approaches. After 30 to 40 chicks, I get 1 date. You're truly a legend, Master Wayne. Thank you.
Well, congratulations,
You've been a
dude.
member for 11 months.
Thanks for being a member for 11 months. Oh, I'm going to...
Did you do JJ?
No, did you want to read it? I got it right here.
Yeah, read.
So JJ La Note, been dating a girl for 2 months. Epic dates. I know she was talking to another guy, and her engagement with me weaned off. Once I noticed, I went no contact. Been a week. I muted her IG. What to do now?
Read that again?
Been dating a girl for 2 months. Epic dates. I know she was talking to another guy, and her engagement with me weaned off. Once I noticed, I went no contact. Been a week.
Well, the phone is for setting dates, not trying to get to know somebody, so that definitely sounds like that's your first mistake. So if she just kind of faded away or she stopped agreeing to dates, then on to the next. Sounds like you talked her out of liking you. Oh, this is an easy one.
Oh.
Michael Jordan
Like,
or
that's why I-
LeBron James, it's not even close. It's fucking Jordan all day long. Jordan's a fucking dog. James, fuck him. He's a woke moron. He's an incredible player, but he's not even in the same ballpark as Michael Jordan. It's not even close.
Adam said we didn't do his, so you lied.
We did. It was a 29 question. Yeah, well, just go.
Do all relationships run their course, or you just love the game and the beginnings? I respect and appreciate you, Coach. Thanks for being authentic and teaching me how to be authentic.
Is there a question or?
Yes, do all relationships run their course, or do you just love the game and the beginnings?
So that sounds like he assumes all relationships aren't going to work out. It's kind of nihilistic. Well, I mean, I heard or read they say if people have been in your life for 7 years or more, they tend to are going to stick around. I personally don't believe in one perfect person for everybody forever and ever. And I don't believe in that one-itis and that soulmates kind of stuff where there's only one person. If you screw that up, you're ruined forever. So I just don't agree with that kind of thinking. I've just found in my experience and having done this for over 20 years is that when one door closes, another one opens.
Gear VR says that he's going on a date tomorrow and I want to give her a kiss. Any tips on the kiss test or what to look out for?
Read that again? What?
He's going on a date tomorrow, so he wants to kiss her, so he wants advice on what to look out for.
Well, if when a woman likes you and she's attracted, I mean, have you read the book? Because you should know. This is kind of like a really basic question. So this sounds like a cherry picker, and I like to roast cherry pickers because it's like you go out on a date and you don't know what the fuck you're doing. When you go out on a date with a girl you really like, and because you half-ass the book, then you end up losing her because you talk and text her or chase her out of liking you. So when a woman likes you, what does she do? She plays with her hair, she touches your arm, she stands too close. You can make out with her within the first few minutes of meeting up if the signs are there, or if there's not many signs at all, at the very end of the date you can do that as well. And you can do the kiss test. It's so simple. I mean, it's in the book. So I'm not going to go too into detail because, again, that's a basic rookie question.
Joey Cooked It Beats asks, hey Corey, what's the best way to recover after a breakup quickly and to move on with someone better?
Go have fun. Be a social person. Get out of your house. Go explore and mingle with humanity. Even though you're not going to feel very sociable, I mean, take some time to be alone and heal and cry or whatever and scream into your pillow and do the things that I've talked about, upon getting over a breakup. But you got to get out and meet other people because, quite frankly, the girls are doing that because they take time to heal, they take time to cry, and that's why and then plus they're always getting hit on for the most part. They're relatively, most women that are fit and attractive and they're sociable. They're not girls that just go to work and sit at home on their couch, but they have an extensive social circle. It's going to be easy for them to meet other people. So the next girl is not going to come kick your door down. So you need to get out of your house and go mingle. It's just especially the younger generation. Everybody is so glued to their cell phone. They've just never developed their social skills. They've totally atrophied.
I've been liking talking on the phone lately.
What do you mean?
Like, before I would just text, and now I've been talking on the phone lately.
Oh, with the guy you're seeing?
Yeah.
And you're not going on how many dates? Is this the guy you had one date with? And so he's talking on the phone to you all the time?
Yeah. It's nice.
And how often are you going out on dates?
But we only have short conversations, so it's nice and keeps me interested.
Well, you're not so it's not like a 2 or 3 hour conversation.
No.
So it's 5-10 minutes. You make the date, and then I'll see you then.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's fine.
Nice.
There's nothing wrong with that.
You
The
like
problem where guys get themselves into trouble is they spend an hour or 2 hours every night on the phone, And then by the time the date comes in the weekend, she's not feeling it because she already knows everything that he's been doing all week because they've been talking for 2 hours. And then she'll usually cancel the date at the last minute for a BS reason because she's no longer feeling it.
Yeah.
He talked her out of liking him. All you had to do was make the date and get off the phone. And so it sounds like, at least so far, this guy is he's talking to you for a few minutes, but he's making the date and then he's dipping.
Yep.
He's not droning on or boring you to death.
He's keeping the curiosity alive.
Nice.
Andrew Nero asks, can you give the best tips for living together with your girl? I applied 7 principles, but haven't asked her to move back in. We both live in a city where we are hours away from friends and family.
Yeah, I'm not. What is that again? You gotta read that again.
Can you give the best tips for living together with your girl?
Give the best tips for living together, but he doesn't live with her. Is that what he said?
So I guess he wants to ask her to live with him, but he hasn't yet.
Well, you shouldn't be the one asking her to live with you. That sounds like a cherry picker. That's an obvious thing from the book. So if they were together, were they living together before? Did he say?
They broke up, but he hasn't asked her to move back in.
Oh, so they were living together. Yeah, she needs to be the one that brings it up. So unless she's bringing up moving in, then you should just keep dating. When she wants to move back in and be that close, she'll bring it up. She'll hint at it.
Brandon asks, Coach, thoughts on the housing market? Do you believe it will improve in the coming years?
Well, because I'm on the apps every day looking at the data, and the rentals are slowly going down. And in my area here, there was one of those property management companies that does short-term rentals, or the Airbnbs, and they dumped at least 40 listings on there, and every single one of those listings is 30 to 40%, sometimes 100% of what the market would actually bear. And so that the only reason that those houses are showing up on realtor.com is because they're not able to get enough people to stay. So, you know, when you take into account you got bankruptcies and stuff like that, you know, as the economy continues to contract, we're probably about 2 years. I would say around the time Trump leaves office at the end of his second term. From that, you know, maybe like his fourth year, and for about 2 years after that'll be the best time to buy, because you can see now, like when I look at the sale listings, you know, a lot of dramatic price drops. Like I've shared some of the ones with, you know, some of the girls, you know, some of the properties that we're looking at, and there's dramatic price drops. And so where things really go sideways is you have to have enough houses that are sold way under what people bought for it. And then when the people that are living there, people with good credit and they can easily afford it, if somebody's got $1 million house, say they owe $1 million, and yet the house is worth $800,000, even though they're a high income, high net worth individual, they're gonna fucking walk away from that or do a short sale with the bank. And so when that happens, that resets the sales price in those neighborhoods. And so it takes time. It's probably about another at least 2-3 years for that process to play itself out. Because what I'm seeing now is the people that bought up all the listings and turned them into Airbnbs they can't rent them for enough to cash flow anymore. And so now they're dumping them all into MLS, hoping to find a long-term renter. But the price that they need to get, because they way overpaid for the property, they still won't cash flow. And then when that happens, then they put it on the market trying to sell it. And then at some point they run out of capital, and then they start doing a short sale with the bank. And so it just takes time. So you got to be patient.
Selfie Stick Adventures says, current girlfriend is actually hiding our relationship from her parents. Her parents are religious. So that's her reasoning. Do I let this slide or assume she'll lie to me down the line?
So why would she? Well, so she's just not telling her parents. So that tells me she doesn't, at least at this moment in time, doesn't see you as the guy she's going to spend the rest of her life with. Or maybe they're super ultra religious and no sex until marriage, and they wouldn't be happy to find out that she was dating anybody. It's like, I don't really know the situation, but when a girl loves you and she's really proud of you, she wants to introduce you to her parents. And when she's unsure or she's not that into you, she's not she'll make excuses as to why you're not meeting them. So that tells me she's probably not as into you as you think she is.
Generation Gabe asks, I cold approached this girl at the gym. Third time seeing her. Last 2 times were short. This last time I asked her when she's free. She told me the weekend. I got her number and then she ghosted. Was I too forward?
Well, women, just because you got the number doesn't mean that she likes you.
Yeah.
She might have just said, here's the number to get rid of you. Because if you already kind of lingered I think you said 3 times total, she could tell you were interested. It was just easier to give you the phone number and, blow you off that way. She didn't even reply. That tells me she wasn't interested. And so I don't know what you said to her. If you stared at her 2 times and then the 3rd time you approached and then said, hey, when are you available to go on a date, without even talking to her or for 5 or 10 minutes? Because if you meet somebody in person, it's, I see a lot of guys do this, especially the younger guys. They're so used to their phones, they want quick and dirty. And so they think they just go over to a girl, ask her on a date, grab her number, and leave, and she's going to show up. And it's like, do you even like the girl? Does she like talking to you? Do you like talking to her? Does the conversation flow? Because if the conversation doesn't flow when you first meet her, there's no reason to keep talking to her. It's not a good experience when you talk to her in person. It's not going to be better on a date. And it just sounds like you walked up to a girl, grabbed her phone number because you were very nervous. You're in or out. She could tell you were kind of nervous. She wasn't that into you anyways, but hey, here's the number to get rid of you. And the fact she didn't even reply shows she's not into you. If next time you're at the gym, you see her, smile, wave to her, and then just go about your business. Maybe she comes over, maybe she doesn't.
Go on to another gym girl.
On to the next. Bottom line, if she really liked you, she would have responded. But it just sounds like it took 3 times seeing her to work up the courage to talk to her. And then when he went over to talk to her, he was just quick to get the phone number and then leave. She just, you didn't really spend any time creating rapport.
I have one. This one is from Michael Gonzalez. He says, hi coach, girls and chunky. The salsa dance community is currently suffering from abusive male leaders taking advantage of their students. What is your view on dating as an instructor in this context?
Yeah, well, none of that shit really applies to you. The only thing that matters is, do you have rapport with the girl? If your students are coming up to you and flirting with you, or wanting to work with you after class, or they're touching you physically when you're not dancing, or they're asking you personal questions, or they're playing with their hair, touching your arm, always coming up to you to ask you about things, their eyes light up, they look, again, all the stuff that's laid out in the book, all that stuff applies in determining whether a woman is into you or not. So if it looks like she's into you, you can just say, hey, would you care to join me for a cup of coffee down the street? And we can continue our conversation. But I would only do that if it's really obvious that she likes you. If there's girls in your class and you're going, I really like this girl, but I'm not really seeing any signs that she's into me, then I wouldn't say anything. The reason why you're seeing other people have problems with it is that those are bad pickup artists. They may be a good salsa dancer instructor, but they're bad pickup artists because they're hitting on women and they can't tell the women aren't interested. And then they're creating weird and awkward moments, and women are like, oh, that guy's a creep, I'm not going back to that class.
Especially when you're dancing. Salsa is a pretty sexy dance.
Yeah.
So when you're dancing, she could take it the wrong way and then be a Me Too movement.
Well, again, the signs are laid out in the book that shows when a woman's into you or not. And if you're an instructor and you're thinking about hitting on a student, it's got to be obvious that the student is into you. Mm-hmm. The girls will linger. They'll always find a reason to come up to you and talk to you. They'll hang out after class all the time. They'll get there extra early. It'll be really obvious. I would only approach those that make it obvious. It sounds like he's interested in girls that aren't showing him any signs of interest, so I wouldn't risk it in those cases.
Don't be a creep either. Do your job. He's focused on the wrong thing. Like, come on now.
I have one more. This one's from Alex Core. How do you deal with it when a girl says she's been distracted, has a lot going on, and needs to prioritize those things? And she's unsure if she wants anything. I told her to let me know if this changes. He's been on 3 dates with her.
Yeah, what's happening is she feels a little smothered. She can tell that he's way more into her than she's into him, and he's probably getting a little attached, and so she's just basically pushing him away. So she's asking for space. So that means he's doing too much contact, too much touching, trying to be around her too much, and he's probably only focused on his interest in her and not really paying attention to her low interest in him. But now that she's asking for space, she gets space permanently. So when a woman says that, it's like, hey, no problem. You know, when you get caught up with everything, you know, hit me up. I'd love to see you. And then you're never going to call her or text her again for any reason. So what happened was, like, you were too pushy, too needy, too clingy, too focused on a relationship, because she's also bringing up, oh, I don't really have time for this. So she can tell what you're looking for. And again, that tells me that you're not being very good at poker. You're showing all your cards. She knows, at least in your mind, you've already decided that she's one and that's the girl that you want. So you need to chillax a little bit.
I have a question from RG89, and thank you for the donation. It's 8 months long distance, not exclusive. She never initiates coming to see me. We talk every day on the phone with her initiating 100% of the time. If I pull back, she blows up my phone. How would you handle? We've seen each other 6 times in person.
So does she not come to see him? Is that what he's saying?
Yeah, she doesn't really want to come to see him. They've been dating 8 months. They've seen each other 6 times in person.
So you have a booty call
And they're not exclusive, too.
in another city, and she doesn't even like you enough to hop on a plane to come see you. So you should be dating other women locally. And talking on the phone every day, that's ridiculous. If you've seen a girl 6 times and you talk on the phone every day, that should be maybe once or twice a week you can do a video date and actually have a date. Because you're basically became her emotional tampon and her therapist and her gay male girlfriend, basically. That's why the phone is for setting dates. It helps if you follow the book.
Joey Cooked It Beats asked, what's the best way to recover after a breakup quickly and to move on with someone better?
We already answered that one.
Oh, we did?
Yeah.
Okay.
E92Dan asks, I was seeing a girl. It was good, but then I was too pushy. She pulled back and said it was due to a girl I was friends with before I met her. Now she says we're just friends, but we talk every day. Fixable?
The phone is for setting dates. You're her gay male girlfriend and her friend, and when you continue to comply with that because you're too afraid to disengage, well, you stuck yourself in friend zone. So you're definitely not following what's in the book. So it would be good if you actually read the book. Because if you got friend zone and yet you're still talking to her every day, it's like you're not following what I teach. You're hoping you're going to change your mind.
I have one from Andad. I'm not pronouncing your last name. Not even going to try. How anxious attachment style man approaches dating and playing the field, and how to differentiate secure from avoidant. Why do bad boys get all girls chasing even if he is in a relationship? I lost one.
Yeah, so you got to read the book, man. I mean, that's asking about all the attachment styles. If you got attachment issues, that's something you can discuss with your therapist or your psychologist or whatever. You have to be following what's in the book if you want to attract women. If you got anxious attachment issues, you're going to have to learn to exercise self-control. So guys that are very anxious, what happens? They're full of fear. They're afraid the girl's not going to like them. And so what they do is what's in the book called the illusion of action. That means they feel like they got to do something, they got to talk more, they got to call more, they got to text more, and they basically chase women right out of their lives. So you have to learn the process that's in the book, because you're still going to feel nervous, you're still going to feel fearful, but you have to learn to be present with that. And knowing the book backwards and forwards knowing when to move forward, knowing when to back off will come with spending time at the book. If you're just cherry picking videos, you're just not going to be successful. You might get laid here and there, but it's just not going to work. We got a lot of cherry pickers today. That guy's a cherry picker.
Narlington says, I followed you since 2015, just got out of a toxic 7-year relationship. Now talking to an 11 out of a 10, and I'm trying not to lose my cool due to the newfound excitement again. Following the rules though.
I would do something that you guys, especially the previous guy about the anxious attachment styles. You should go to the I'm going to drop a link into the chat. Go to the YouTube channel of, let's see, and you're going to scroll all the way to the bottom and go to the consciousness exercises. That's with Dr. Deanna and Gracie, which I'm about to right now drop into the live chat here. So that's the playlist. It'll take you to the consciousness exercises 1 through 12. And so I would say 3, if you're like super nervous or you're going out on a date, or maybe you're going out with all the boys on Friday night and you want to boost the confidence, do stages 1 through 12 of the consciousness exercises in front of your TV Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. Or do it, block out an hour, hour and a half and do that in front of your TV. And you'll feel like you can walk through a wall after you do that. Whether you got anxious issues or you want to grow your confidence, doing the body connection, the consciousness exercises will really help. Next question.
I have one from Josh Root. Hey coach, been in no contact with ex for 4 weeks now. She keeps showing up randomly at my gym. She doesn't normally go there. Seems like a mind game. What should I do?
Let her come over and talk to you. Let her reach out to you. If she calls you or texts you, assume she wants to see you and make a date. Just follow what's in 7 Principles to Get an Expect. If you see her in the gym and you lock eyes, smile and wave to her, and then go about your business. Or you could smile and wave and you can motion with your finger for her to come over. If that's not her normal gym and now all of a sudden she shows up exactly when you work out there, then she's probably trying to create some kind of an interaction to hope that you do something.
Mm-hmm.
But I would not go to her in the gym. Let her come to you. And don't reach out to her on the phone either. Let her reach out to you, especially if she's the one that dumped you.
DMAC10 says, what's a good way to get out and socialize other than my job? Yeah, there are bars and clubs, but what are some other ideas for those who don't live in a major city, plus don't have friends that go out?
Go out with yourself. You got to get out of your house. Go do fun things you love and enjoy. We talked about this a lot in the last live. Actually, the first previous live streams, right? We've talked about that a bunch. You got to get involved in social activities that enable you to do things that you love and enjoy. If you love boating, join a yacht club. If you love hunting or fishing, join a hunting and fishing club. If you love the beach, join a beach club. If you love golf, join a golf club. If you're into art, go to art galleries or art openings. Go to an art museum. Go to art fairs. Like where I live, they once a quarter they block the whole street off and they have artists from all over the country come and show and display their paintings, their sculptures, and all kinds keychains, all kinds of crazy stuff that they make. Mm-hmm. So if you're into that kind of stuff, or a beer, wine, and cheese festival or something like that, you don't need to have other people with you, but you're going to have to go socialize. I'm not going to be able to come hold your hand and drag you out of the house and now go talk to strangers. It's like get out of the house, go do something fun. Because if you're doing things that are fun, you're going to smile a lot. Mm-hmm. And if you're smiling a lot, you're going to be more attractive. If you look like you're having a good time, you're going to be approachable. If you're not into bars and nightclubs and you're like, well, this is the only thing to do, I guess I'll go to a bar or nightclub, you're going to probably be one of those dudes that stand in the corner with a beard in front of your chest and an angry look in your face because you're unhappy, you don't really want to be there. So the important thing is to do social activities that are fun.
Helps if you have a puppy too.
Yeah, puppies are great. We got 3 of them here right now.
Emotional support plus girls love them.
Yes.
So.
having a little puppy, like little poodles like we got here, it's amazing the effect that it has on people, especially women. Oh my God, it's so cute. Oh, can I say hello to your dog? Well, sure, come on over.
Yeah.
Not until they're vaccinated.
Obviously not the little puppies. Which
Can't-
did you
can't touch
did you
my
have
kids.
did they see the little puppy earlier?
I put her away because these lights are too strong. She's overheating.
I just want to ask the Carlos Cardenas question.
Yeah. Hi, Coach. As a tall Mexican James Bond here in the Seattle area, I feel as if my indifference and centered vibe has put off even men and women alike due to the environment. Any tips?
Well, it sounds like he's walking around and with his chest out, like, I'm the man. But he's not talking to anybody, so he doesn't look very approachable. It doesn't look like he's having fun. Maybe he's got an angry look on his face. That's why it's important to lose yourself in your hobbies and your interests and the things that you really enjoy doing.
Yeah, but isn't Seattle one of those?
Well, Seattle, I got family that lives there, and it's very, very far left. So you're gonna have a lot of, crazy Karens, liberal women that live there that are difficult. And if you're a more masculine or Trump supporting guy, if your balls have fully dropped, it's there's a lot of liberal women. But the problem is they can't find anybody to date because all the Democrats are a bunch of fucking pussies and beta males, and they act like fucking chicks all the time. So you could have a lot of fun, but you're gonna have some friction on the value system, especially if you talk about Trump and she gets triggered. So again, if you're walking around and people are staying away from you, it sounds like you got an angry look on your face. The vibe you're giving off is like, get a puppy. Get a puppy. Cute little puppy, in fit and shape dude with a cute little puppy is like, girls will go crazy over your dog. And then they'll come over and talk to you.
Gotta humble yourself a little bit.
Be nice. Be approachable.
All right, 1 second selfie.
Tracy C asks, so your standpoint is fuck the friend zone, and if she won't be anything more, just drop off the earth?
Yep.
A woman whose ex cheated on her for 2 years, she keeps dates with me, but married to her job.
Well, if you're stuck in friend zone and you're not getting anywhere, you don't keep taking her out on dates. Because then you're being the gay male girlfriend that's filling her belly for free.
Yeah, and you're probably, if she's probably got other people doing that too.
This is why all this stuff is in the book, the way it is. Like, this is why you don't do lunch dates. This is why you do dates in the evening. Because guys like that start taking girls to lunch, or they're too nice. And then the girl picks up on that. They're kind of a beta male, and they friend zone them. And then the guy keeps hanging out and spending money, hoping he's going to change her mind once she sees what a great guy he is. But at the end of the day, you fill her belly, and then when she gets home at night, she's calling up Chad Thundercock to come over and beat up her pelvis. So don't do that.
Isaiah Threats says, does race matter in dating? Stats show that the majority of people date within their own race, especially white women.
Well, I mean, down here in South Florida, everybody's kind of fucking everybody else. It's like skin color it's really kind of a non-issue. So maybe where you are, but if you're a white guy and you like to date black women, or you're a black guy and you like to date white women, guess what? Not all of them are going to like you back. I mean, this is just across the board. As a man, most of the women you're going to be into aren't going to be into you. The skin color should be irrelevant. If you're focused on skin color, that tells me that you're probably consuming a little too much of the woke stupidity that's on TV that talks about that all the time. Because everybody I know that's down here, it's like when you see couples of different skin colors or skin tones, nobody cares. You got gay dudes walking around everywhere. You got lesbians walking around everywhere. You got mixed race couples and their kids are all mixed race. It's like nobody fucking cares. It's like a non-issue. The only people that make this an issue are the people that are on TV, who typically tend to be racist. So whatever you're consuming that's giving you that kind of mindset, I would probably change the channel and turn that shit off, because it's not serving you. Because if you're focused on somebody's skin color, then whatever media you're consuming is teaching you to focus on the differences you have with other people, and that's not healthy.
Yeah.
Whatever you observe, you participate in. And if you're observing a lot of people talking about skin color, and that's communist, Marxist, ideological subversion propaganda. And TV, movies, all the woke stuff, the DEI stuff, didn't earn it, diversity, equity, inclusion. It's all that stuff does is piss people off and makes them hate each other. And the fact that you're focusing on skin color, oh, I'm probably going to get rejected because I have the wrong skin color, it's the wrong way to think. What you're looking for is the signs that she's attracted. It's all laid out in the book. If she's attracted to you, doesn't matter her skin color.
Mm-hmm.
Take her out.
You connect with whoever you connect with.
Yep.
It's the soul, not the...
It's your body is where your soul lives while you're incarnated here on planet Earth. And not everybody's going to like your container, if you will. What Bob Lazar said, if you watched any of those podcasts, he said the aliens refer to us as containers. In other words, containers for the soul. Skin color doesn't matter.
I have a question from a lovely lady.
A lovely lady.
Mm-hmm. Amanda has a question. My significant other is a longtime fan of yours. We've had a lot of talks about, I'm not going to say the P word.
The B word?
P.
The P word?
Porn.
Porn?
Are we allowed to say that online?
Yeah, you can say that.
Okay, I don't know the live
The P
rules
word.
right
Puppies,
now.
popsicles.
About porn. How
Papaya.
too much is bad. I've got a theory that rom-coms are bad for women too. Both sets up unrealistic expectation. What are your thoughts?
Well, I mean, I don't consume porn. To me, I've always just thought, what a fucking waste of money and time. So you're giving your boyfriend's giving his sexual attention to porn stars, what, so he can jerk off? Or are you guys watching it together so he can get stimulated? That is something that he shouldn't it's not healthy. It's like, why would you do that? You got this beautiful girl that's your girl, and yet you'd rather jerk off to some rando strangers that are performing on camera. It's like, also, guys that go to the titty bar all the time. It's like, why would you, it's kind of demeaning to yourself. So if you got a girlfriend, it's like, you shouldn't be watching any of that shit. It's like, give all of your sexual attention to your woman. And if you're not happy or you're not turned on enough, then maybe the part of the reason, it's possibly he's got an addiction, but also maybe he's not that into you. But if he's been following me for a long time and he thinks it's a good idea to, I don't know how much time he's spending on porn, but it's like, come on, man, grow the fuck up. Why would you waste your time with that? Like when I was 29, I stopped watching regular TV, and just because I was striving to become a more successful guy, and I realized how much time I was wasting watching TV. And so I just stopped watching it. And I'll occasionally watch some movies, but the only thing I ever really watch on TV is like YouTube videos. Some of the channels that I follow, it's usually something that I can learn about that I'm interested in, or it might be an industry or a CEO whose company I've invested in, and so I want to see what the guy has to say. But I don't watch sitcoms unless sometimes the girls put stuff on while we're working. Some of the trash TV, which is kind of obnoxious and funny at times, and also repulsive. But I assume he's spending money and he's taking away from his relationship, and he's giving sexual attention not to his girlfriend, but basically sitting there watching a computer screen or a TV. It's kind of demeaning to yourself. It's a waste of time. It's a waste of energy. Nothing good comes of it. So he should be giving her that attention, and if he wants to sit around and jerk off to porn all day, maybe she should leave him and go find a guy who has his life together and is not like checking out, beating off the porn all the time.
It's a demon.
No, I think what she meant was that they both have had conversations that too much of porn and too much of rom-coms are bad for both of...
That's what we covered.
Yeah.
Just answered.
So it just sets up unrealistic expectations.
Yeah, that tells me he's probably watching too much porn, and she doesn't like it. That's why she's bringing it up. Because that's
Maybe.
it's an issue.
I don't know. I
If
don't
it's a
watch
guy
it.
following my work and thinks it's a good way to spend his time and money to jerk off to porn all the time, he needs to pull his fucking head out of his ass and get out and participate in life and take his lady out and go have a good time with her.
Be present.
Be
Or-
present.
Or look up moves like on the internet and do those if you're both into like doing funky, fun, whatever
You got
stuff.
the Better Sex video series. I mean, the
Yeah.
models that are in those videos are not very attractive, but they're instructional, and you can learn a lot from that. But watching porn, if instead of something that's instructional, if you're trying to please your significant other, that's a different story. But just the way she phrased it, because I've had this question countless times, in phone sessions. It's pretty clear that probably because he's like, well, you watch the rom-coms all the time, and she's like, well, I don't want you watching porn. So they're probably trying to negotiate how to reallocate their time. He shouldn't be watching porn at all. And rom-coms, it's Netflix and chill occasionally. They're all fucking cheesy, and most of them are written by a bunch of beta males anyways, and the archetypes don't make any sense and aren't real. But an occasional Netflix and chill is fine, but he needs to cut the porn out.
What if they
It's
made
not healthy.
their own porn together?
There you go.
And if she's out of town or something like that and is not able to do phone sex or something like that, could he watch that while, would that be acceptable to watch his own porn with his own lady?
Yeah,
Personal
well,
porn?
that's fine, but again, why do you feel the need to watch porn, even if
think
it's your own porn?
Some guys can be very lazy. Did we?
It's just a bad distraction.
Oh.
There's better things to spend his time on.
I'd be pissed. I'd be like, you can't hold out for me? Like,
Yeah, when you're young and you haven't been laid a lot, you'll take as much of it as you can get. But as you get older, you get more experience. It's like I said, at 55, to me, this is kind of a silly conversation. But I know a lot of younger guys are following me. It's not healthy. Like when I was a kid, you had Playboy and Penthouse, and our friends' parents would have like videotapes or the VHS or the Betamax, and wow, oh my God, as a kid it was like, wow, we've never seen this before. But when you become an adult and you start having an adult relationship, as long as your balls are drained dry and you have sex more than you wanted, it's really not a big deal. It's a lot of work, actually.
I'm confused. She just
I
responded.
know.
She just responded and said, haha, no, my significant other and I aren't into all that. You're not into that with your partner to make a video of you two, but he's into watching other people do it? I think that's weird.
No, she wanted to see what Corey's thoughts about porn.
Yeah, they're not into like the whole porn thing.
She just wanted to
Oh,
see.
okay, so you just wanted my opinion on it. Well, that's
Yeah.
my opinion.
Okay.
no to porn.
I'm confused.
Yeah,
It's
they're
just
not
a waste
into
of
it.
time, energy, and money. Unfortunately, a lot of younger guys have a problem with that. They just sit home and beat off, and they don't date. They don't go out on dates. They're not even talking to girls, and they have no interest. And they got a lot of other problems besides that. Living in their mom's basement and having no purpose. But
Or van down by the river.
Scott Phoenix says, do you ever mess up even though you wrote the book? Huge fan of your work. No one is perfect, but if you messed up, what was the thing you messed up in? How did you correct it? That's a good question.
Well, I mean, I like the path of least resistance. I tend to be lazy, so I can at times not do enough things, going out on dates, things of that nature, I would imagine. But I think for the most part, I'm a pretty good boyfriend.
Do you guys want to read Michael?
I was about to read that.
Cool, perfect.
So, Michael Rosinski. Hey, Coach, how do you handle your girlfriend's family? Her sister's upset over something she claims I did, but won't say what it is. Her niece is graduating. Girlfriend wants me to go, but I'm avoiding the drama. Go or no?
Well, if the family members don't like you and they make you feel uncomfortable, then I wouldn't go. If it's something that is your girl's event, then yeah, you have to go to support her. But if she got members of the family that are kind of dickish towards you or they don't like you, it's like, why go hang out with them? You want to have fun. You want to enjoy life. You've decided ahead of time that you're going to have a good time. And if you know there's people in her family that are just miserable, insufferable cunts because the world is full of them, well, then don't go hang out with them. And if she doesn't want to tell you why they're mad at you, it's like, well, you can't solve problems unless you can talk openly and honestly about them. And if they're not willing to say why she's upset, well, then she can go fuck herself.
Yeah.
Drama-free zone. So if you know there's going to be drama, don't go.
Anad Jadhav says, if she says she's a tomboy, is she a good candidate to date? And do you do collaborations with other coaches?
Like Robert Glover, Mark Summers, and Andrew Faraby.
Robert Glover, what did he write? Was that The Art of Seduction? Or that was Robert Greene? I can't remember. Or No More Mr. Nice Guy. I think that's No More Mr. Nice Guy. The other two guys, I don't know who they are.
Mark Summers sounds really familiar to me. I just can't.
Wasn't he the guy that was like Nickelodeon? Used to do the kids show with the slime and stuff? I think his name was Mark Summers.
Oh, yeah, that does sound.
If she's a tomboy, is she a good candidate to date?
Why not?
Well, it's like, what does that, if you like her and she's hot, so probably what does that mean? She's into guy stuff. Maybe she likes to shoot. She likes to hunt.
Maybe she likes to fish.
She likes to fish.
She could cook you dinner.
She could throw some overalls on. It's like, if she's hot,
she could catch it and
yeah.
she could cook it. I mean,
it's
why
like
not?
that. What's her name? Hannah Barron, I think, or Barron, the one that blew up in the last year. She's beautiful, jacked body. Her dad's like, he's all jacked, and they're, I think, in Louisiana or Alabama or somewhere, and they do the noodling where they.
Oh,
you ever seen with the catfish?
Gross.
And they get
Come
these giant
on.
catfish. It's like. I'd say she's kind of tomboyish.
She
swallow you whole. Yeah,
she
they
does
literally
bow and arrows.
They fish them with their
deer.
arm, and they could. Do you know how many people die? Do you know how many people die from that every year? That's so dangerous.
Really, why they get infected?
No, they're drowned by those things.
Oh yeah, she's jacked. You should see her. Her dad is jacked, and it's like they're like country bumpkins. They hang out in the fucking swamp and eat fucking weird things. It's I would say she's kind of tomboyish, but very hot.
Turtle soup.
So I'd say absolutely.
Yeah.
See what she's like. As long as she can be submissive and girly and submit to you and not try to run shit all the time.
You just want to, Kelly, you want to ask focus? I focus on
There was one I wanted to ask from.
Biov, I cannot pronounce your handle. But where was your question? How to properly handle when a girl you date tries to make you do favors like watching her bag or grab something for her. I know it can be a shit test. I think that if like a girl trusts you enough and asks you to like watch her bag when she goes to the bathroom, that's not really like a shit test. But what do you think?
Yeah, if your lady says, "Hey, honey, can you hold my," maybe she's got one of those giant fucking purses and she's got a collapsible rifle in it or whatever, which is my kind of woman. He's like, absolutely, babe. Sling that bitch over your shoulder, and hopefully there's an extra magazine in there. It's like,
what if there's a puppy in it?
Maybe there's a puppy in it. Of course that's like the gentlemanly thing to do. She's got to go to the bathroom. She doesn't want to set her nice purse down in a dirty ass bathroom because the women's bathroom publicly are usually way dirty and way more fucked up than the guys' bathroom. So that would make sense that she's gonna want you to hold on to her purse while she goes and drops a squid.
But wait till she gets back to leave, because one time I asked a boyfriend to watch my purse while I was in the bathroom. He took it to the bathroom, comes back and leaves it in the bathroom, and somebody stole it.
Oh damn!
Yeah, I got my purse back.
Well, I guess that's why he's an ex.
Yeah. I was pissed, but I got it back the next day.
He lost my YSL bag.
So.
Yeah, he'd be replacing
that.
Mark Summers, Double Dare.
Mark Summers.
You never watched Double Dare?
Omar, he says, my girlfriend cheated on me a few weeks ago. I had a one-on-one call with you, and you told me to keep an eye on her. You were right, LOL. Any advice on how to heal from that devastating experience? Hey, bro, it's not your fault. This is the vetting process. You didn't fuck her up like that. You didn't make her a ratchet whore, cheater. This is her family's fault. Thank God you know now. So everything worked like it was supposed to. And unfortunately, she cheated. So you shouldn't feel bad about that. You didn't do that to her. But now you know what you're dealing with. That's a fuck buddy, friends with benefits, sex playmate if you're going to hook up with her in the future. But always practice safe sex. Make sure you flush your condoms. Even though the environmentalists apparently hate that. Flush them anyways so they don't slip on past the goalie, especially if you're a baller in a blue state.
Just swallow 'em.
Because she belongs to the streets. She's out of here. So good for you, Omar. So get back on the horse, man. Don't take it personally. There's nothing you can do about it. This was inevitable. You gave her the benefit of the doubt. Your spidey senses were tingling, and come to find out, you were right. Thank God it happened before you were married and had kids, and found out half your kids weren't yours. So it's a victory. It's a win either way.
I focus
Either you win or you learn.
asks how to deal working in the spa with women and keep your masculinity. I got rejected by one of my coworkers and used everything in your book and videos. But
He says he read the book 7 times, watched most of your videos. Well, if you're going to hit on your coworkers like that again, women, you should look for the signs. Like I was talking earlier, about an hour ago, we did a similar question. Is that let the woman be the one that comes on to you, playing with her hair, touching your arm. Because if you got rejected by a coworker, that tells me you asked her out when you were unsure if she was into you. So that tells me you need to know the book better. Because if you're trying to be sly and do things in the down low, that shouldn't happen. Maybe just inviting the girls out for happy hour or whatever if you think one of them likes you, and then you can all hang out together. The one that likes you will come sit near you. She'll talk to you more. She'll linger when everybody else leaves. And then if they all leave at the same time and she never lingers, she never sits next to you, she never touches your arm, she never asks you any personal questions, then she's probably not into you. So you're able to spend some time with her outside of work, and there was no signs of interest, you never ask her out. So all she's going to think is you were just hanging out with everybody, having a few drinks. Or maybe you go to lunch with everybody. Because again, hang out outside of work so you can spend time socially. Because when a girl likes you, they go out of their way. And sometimes you'd be surprised, like back in the day when I was in real estate, I had more instances than I wanted of women that worked for me coming into my office, closing the door, asking if they could talk to me, and then just to tell me that they were in love with me and thought we'd be a great match and we should be together. And some of them I had no idea, and I was pretty surprised. And it's funny, even years later, I remember 10, 15 years after the fact, I had women that worked for me, I didn't even remember them, or hit me up on Facebook asking me out. So look for the signs. They got to be obvious. You don't want to risk your job, especially in a declining market. You don't want to get Me Too'd. Got to be more tactful and James Bond like.
Metaverse transference says, I get on many dates but live very far off the center. I don't have any amenities next to home. It's an issue saying let's get back to my place. Can I just ask them to come when they reach out?
Well, if you're far out of the way and you're meeting a girl for a date, it's you bring her to your place when she feels safe and comfortable. If you're meeting chicks online, just inviting them to drive all the way out in the middle of nowhere, you're probably not going to get any takers on that.
Yeah, no.
So maybe move a little closer, or get an extra part-time job and get like a small efficiency, like just a little bachelor apartment where you got like a nice kitchen area and you got a bathroom and like one big room. Basically you can have a cool little efficiency or a loft or something like that to where you can go where the action is and there's stuff to do. So if you live out in the middle of nowhere, yeah, I would definitely get an efficiency or something like that. Again, get an extra part-time job or move, or if moving's not possible, you got to think about that. If you're meeting a girl for the first time and you're a 45-minute ride into the mountains most girls are not gonna drive all the way out to the mountains because there's no lights or anything, and she's like, I'm gonna fucking disappear.
It's very dangerous.
Yes, that's not gonna happen. You gotta have some common sense.
We watch too many murder mysteries for that.
Oh, it's like the Friday the 13th movies. It's always the lake house, and people start disappearing. And
Parth Dudeha says, the other day I called a girl hot, and she got visibly angry and told me it was nice meeting you. What do you think?
You say, oh, I meant you were hot-tempered. So she didn't like it. Whatever. She's probably a liberal.
Yeah, on to the next.
Or she didn't like him at all. It was just having a bad day. That's going to happen. Eventually, you do enough approaches. This is why, especially you guys are just learning, it's better to approach women that smile and make eye contact. He probably approached some girl that wasn't giving him any signs, and he went over and approached her, and she's just on a bad mood on a bad day, and she's like, fuck you, dude. Don't take it personally. That's going to happen. If she's not like, hell yeah, I'm glad you came over, it's like, well, wow, you're hot. Oh, have a nice day. It's like, I meant you're hot-tempered, but have a nice day yourself.
Kyle Siebert, audio. I met someone online a month ago. I asked her out, but she has been sick and busy. Despite expressing an interest in going out for some mini golf, I just asked her out again today, but haven't heard anything.
Well, if you asked a girl out a month ago, and it sounds like he's probably asked her out multiple times because she says she's busy all the time. So if a girl likes you and she really wants to go out with you, but she's busy, she'll say, oh, I'd really love to see you. That'd be great. I'll be available in 2 weeks. Can we plan something in? But if she's just like, yeah, I'm busy. I don't have any time. She's basically saying, fuck you. I'm not interested. Leave me alone. But you can always ask twice. Maybe she's in a different headspace. But it just sounds like he's asked her a bunch of times and she keeps putting him off.
Bear Bet Young Ungwo.
Okay.
Coach Corey Wayne, what to do as a young man that is naturally not that masculine, very feminine aura and vibe, but not being gay?
Go work out. Do masculine things. I mean, look at Mark Zuckerberg. That was like the ultimate beta male transformation. When he started rolling and doing jiu-jitsu, he kind of grew his curly hair back out. Now he looks like a normal human being again and kind of talks a little bit like one if you saw the most recent Joe Rogan podcast. Whereas before he looked like a fucking robot or an alien. Had like zero self-awareness, zero sensory acuity. So I'd say do some jiu-jitsu. Learn to fight. Do some more masculine things. Definitely push some weights up. And also the consciousness exercises that I shared earlier. I would do those 3 days a week, Monday, Wednesday, Friday. Obviously read the book. Definitely read The Way of the Superior Man by David Data.
G.F. Smith says, I need your help. My girlfriend drunkenly scratched my face and things really haven't been the same. I want them to be. Can they be?
So in other words, it sounds like
she slapped him maybe.
She scratched him with her nails because she was mad, and she only did it because she was drunk, he says.
Yeah.
So does that mean your girlfriend has a drinking problem or an anger management problem? Then...
Were they playing maybe?
Yeah, it just sounds like she went full cat on him. And did it on purpose. And so violence is never good, but if violence is going to happen, if you guys ever saw it happened last year sometime. Dana White was at one of the UFC events, and he was having, because the media, the cameras were pointed at him, he was having a heated discussion with his wife, and she slapped him because she was drunk. Obviously, they've both been drinking, and so. What did he do? Because he got torched by the media, but what he did was absolutely appropriate. She smacked him, and then he took the inside of his fingers, and he didn't punch her, he didn't knock her down and kick her or do an elbow drop or a knee kick on her or anything.
elbow.
He didn't sweep her legs and smash her face into the glass table. He took his fingers and he spun her head around with enough force to basically, don't touch me like that, because he's a silverback. And so his queen had a little bit too much to drink, and she thought it was a good idea to smack him, and he spun her head around with enough force to know, don't touch me like that again. And she complied. And that's what Sean Connery was talking about. Because if he just sat there and took it like a bitch, then she may become even more belligerent. But he did it in a way, he didn't punch her, he didn't leave any marks on her, he spun her head around.
He responded.
And if you're ever in a situation like that and your girl puts your hands on you like that, that's how you respond. It's instinctual. It'll happen like that.
He responded twice. The 2 orange ones.
Oh, he said it wasn't playing at all. It was a build-up apparently, and it's like I'm all over the place first time it ever happened. She feels as if I would always cut her off, but she knew it was the biggest mistake
So she didn't like that, the way he was talking or their interaction, so she thought it was okay to put hands on him.
Yeah, no.
There's a very famous clip from the 80s with Barbara Walters and Sean Connery, the original James Bond, and she, he was, I think it was a Playboy interview he'd done probably 10 years before. They were asking, should you ever hit a woman, I think was the question. And he said in certain cases, yeah. And so Barbara Walters challenged him, this interview, do you have anything, do you think that was a good idea? He's like, well, in certain cases. He says, in other words, she's like, did you change your mind? He's like, no. And so he explained himself very well. Just like I said, the Dana White was like the best one that I've seen recently. Is like, that man's a silverback. He's the fucking 500-pound gorilla. You don't put your fucking hands on the silverback. And like I said, he didn't deck her or knock her out or break her jaw or knock her teeth out. He just spun her head around firmly enough to let her know, don't touch me like that again. And she complied. And he totally diffused the situation. And if it was me, if I was Dana White that evening, I would have done the same fucking thing. Because what he did was right. Even though they both been drinking, he completely diffused it. And it didn't spiral out of control.
He also said she grabbed his phone and threw it, and it broke.
Yeah.
She was
She
belligerent.
was drunk and belligerent.
But
And the fingers on the chin, spinning the head around forcefully is like... It's like, don't fuck with the silverback.
I think
And that's what she
maybe
got.
there's an easier way to handle that. Probably just firmly grab her and hold her tight. You don't have to put your hands on her and hit her.
She slapped him. You gotta
I
understand,
don't
a guy
agree.
like Dana, it's instantaneous.
Yeah, but
It's just,
he's not Dana.
we're talking about Dana White.
I know, but this man is not Dana.
Well, I would tell him the same thing, because if it was me, I would do the same thing. The fact that she
I
scratched
don't
him,
think that hitting a
that's-
woman is smart
it's not
at
hitting
all.
her. It's getting
Putting-
her to stop the attack, Erica.
I disagree with it, and we're allowed to disagree.
That's fine.
We're
You can
allowed to disagree. Because
He
I
said
think
he
that
did grab her and restrain her.
that's
and,
a smart thing to do.
and said chill.
I respect
That's
you
another
for
way.
that.
He put his hands on her, though.
Yeah, but that's a respectful way to do it, because if you embrace her and you hold her tight and you do something like that, then that's a way of calming her down in a frenzy mindset. Because if you were to react in a way that will get her to react in a higher craziness mindset, she might hit you back harder. And
It
you
wasn't
don't
a hit. It was the inside
I'm
of
just
the
saying,
fingers.
you don't want to escalate the
Trust me.
situation.
Trust me.
And I think that what you did
Dana's
is probably,
wife did not touch him again after that.
Yeah, but they were in a public place.
Doesn't matter.
And
he diffused it. He handled it the right way. If it was me, I would have done the same fucking thing.
they have a lot of things to lose.
And at the end of the day, it's between him and his wife. She
Right.
put her hands on him, and he put a stop to it as quickly and as efficiently as possible without any kind of bodily harm. People that saw that were shocked, but at the end of the day, she started it. She put her hands on him, and you don't fucking touch Dana White. You don't ever fucking do that.
Do the unrelenting force guy and then Roy Barnes.
Who?
The unrelenting force one. It's a green message. He donated earlier. Tane made another one. It's about Hey coach, I got my own place. Any ideas on how to eat healthy? I already do your green juice and it makes me feel great.
The green juice, the Corey's Green Alkaline Smoothie. I think the latest one, How to Make Corey's Green Alkaline Smoothie with Gracie, I think was the most recent one we did a few years ago when we were doing those. That recipe is also in the book. I don't put tomatoes in it anymore because of the lectins. And I also don't put green pepper in it because of the lectins. And all the girls that were drinking it always made them feel gassy. So when we took the green pepper out, that solved that problem. But it didn't bother me at all. But, well, it's like if you're going to eat healthy, it's just a big part of it's discipline. You can have junk food in your house, but it doesn't mean you have to eat it all. I mean, I have a full liquor bar. I occasionally maybe have a little bit of scotch. It's really for my friends, my family, my guests, people that come over. So you got to have self-control. So if you got a nice place and you're a healthy eater, it's fill your food full of healthy stuff. It's like, what's in my fridge here? A lot of green shit.
Just want to read the Roy Barnes. I think this is an interesting discussion.
So Roy Barnes asks, Coach, longtime member here, based on your studies on life, professionalism, and dating, what are your thoughts on read receipts? Do you advise having them on for text messages or turning them off?
They're always off. Because it's annoying because, like my dad loves to send me lots of videos and stuff like that. And, he'll be there like 11 o'clock at night, and it's right before he's about to go to bed, and I can tell he's scrolling Instagram, and he's just like, he's like one video after another, and so I let him collect. Or, same thing with a text. Sometimes I look, is it an emergency I got to respond to right now or not? And if it's not, because if you click on it and then it says read, and then you respond 3 hours later, then the other person's going to be like, oh, why'd you wait 3 hours? I saw you read my message. It's like, so I don't have read receipts. So I can be like James Bond. If it's an emergency, I'll respond right away. Otherwise, it's like I'll get back to it when I can. Yeah. So I leave them off.
I have mine off, but I also have them on for certain people, like in case of emergency, because they know that if my phone is like with me in certain situations, and if I don't respond within a certain period of time, that's probably not a good sign. They know what I'm doing in certain times of the day. They know my schedule. So they know that if I'm at work or if I'm taking care of my animals, that I'm not going to respond for a couple hours. But if they are messaging me within a certain block of time where I'm going to be able to answer the phone, and I don't, then the read receipts are very beneficial. But it really goes for like family members and a couple close friends that I would say you could turn it on for. But if you're dating people and it's new, I would have them off, because they don't need to know your every move. They don't need to know what you're doing. If you accidentally click on it and, like Corey said, you don't
Operational
respond,
security,
then they're going to have a reason to be upset and then start spiraling for no reason. And you just don't need that kind of drama.
No drama, mama.
Exactly.
Last question. Stefan Aldeco. How can I overcome jealousy and insecurity when my partner interacts with male orbiters or exes?
Well, that just goes to loyalty. It's not a loving thing if your girlfriend is constantly inviting and entertaining attention from other guys, male orbiters. Because it's okay to have male orbiters, but once you're in a relationship, they should fade to the background and not be interacted with. But if you've been with your girlfriend for 6 months or a year, and like every other day or sometimes multiple times a day, she's in contact with these male orbiters who are clearly not doing it because they're pals, but because they're hoping to get a chance with her, well, she's the one inviting that. She's the one basically behaving as if they're a free agent. So you're going to have a talk with her, because if she's constantly talking to exes and constantly talking to male orbiters, but you're in an exclusive relationship, it doesn't sound like she really respects the commitment. Because what she's doing is she's inviting attention from other men other than her boyfriend, and that's not what a loyal woman does. And so she'll either respect the boundaries or she won't. And if she keeps crossing the boundaries and says, oh, you're being controlling, and yet she wants to talk and text to a bunch of dudes that are trying to get into her pants all day long or several times a week, if she's not going to stop it, you can either put up with it or you can leave and find a woman that doesn't behave that way. A good family-oriented girl that's in a relationship, respects her dad, was raised properly, is not going to be constantly entertaining attention from male orbiters or exes. The only kind of women that do that are women that don't value loyalty and aren't going to be loyal. That's the bottom line.
Belong to the streets.
They belong to the streets.
I guess you don't.
Good.
That's not. Let's
Yeah.
say goodbye to everybody.
All right, guys. Thanks for joining us again. We'll see you again next Friday, 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time Zone, which is the same time zone as New York and Miami.
Bye.
Have a great weekend.
Bye.
Bye. Shabbat shalom.